with that.
Duke speaking T.
Oh yeah.
I want to catch I want to catch you up and our audience up on some developments this week. If you were listening to last week's podcast, we were talking about some valleys. And in this industry, this journey that we're on, you got these peaks and valleys. And it is shocking what a difference a week can make. And last week, I wanted to make the point of like, we talk about highlight reels and like we're pumping each other up and we're like, oh shit, like that's dope. Like there's a bunch of highlight reels and it's just as important to talk about the lows because that is part of it. If you're realistic, like that's a real, sometimes it's like 50-50. Sometimes you got more misses than wins. But I've based few developments on my end. Um, I've basically gotten financing for like a two picture indie deal.
Oh well.
So like two indie films budgeted very responsibly. Um, but grouping those two in because then it's less risky. And the way that that came about, and one other thing too, I think I mentioned the Crypt TV stuff earlier, but it's really been solidified this week as far as like producing for them. Hopefully, the thing that I'm about to make is going to lead to more of a serialized thing for them. And so point being, something that I've realized is, and I think you talk about this a lot, like I usually my MO is like, let's fucking go, like let's just nose to the grindstone, let's work, work, work. Like it's all about work ethic and pushing. But what I'm starting to find is by me like kind of taking a step back, still being intentional about shit, but not being so like laser focused on what I think might lead to a certain thing. If I kind of let shit happen and that's the energy that I've got about it and I'm kind of matching up with that, shit starts lining up and it starts like it starts moving forward more efficiently than if I was like I have to control exactly how point A is going to move to B to C to D. There are things that have kind of lined up in ways that like I couldn't really control and it kind of settled in and I kind of rode the wave. So
Wait, how'd you get funding for two movies? What's that?
ends up being without like getting because deals have not been signed yet. But it ends up being it ended up being a friend and like a collaborator who for whatever reason has certain connections and it was an avenue that like I was before then I was reaching out cold to people who had like gone to my college and I thought that would be enough of a connection. I reached out to like 500-600 people, got no responses, no positive responses. And so it just kind of ended up working out.
Had you kind of put a call into that connection by the
No,
last pod that we had, or was this all in the last week?
uh it's pretty much all in the last week and it wasn't really me like um reaching out for in that capacity and it kind of just happened. It's weird. It's like I feel like part of like the whole universe shit that we can't really touch is like you're ready you sometimes certain opportunities don't present themselves until you're ready for them. And I feel like I'm at the phase now where I fully know how to package and put and produce a feature and put it together. I'm still meeting with people too on the other side. In higher up positions in the industry in horror specifically, where it's like once I have a finished film, which now this thing is starting to line up once I produce a film, which is my responsibility, then I also have these avenues available now because I've been going around and meeting different people to actually get it distributed and get it to a wider release. So that's
All
why.
right. Without
And I know
spoiling.
I'm speaking vaguely, and that is intentional. It is just because but go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that we know you don't want to spoil it and everything. How I personally like to talk about things is from a place of appreciation and that it could go away. Nothing's final until the money's in your pocket, but
Yeah.
also with celebrating that even people are talking about it at the moment. I think it's like something to kind of like appreciate and not from a place of like counting the chickens before they hatch, but Like, what can you tell us without dropping any names or anything? I mean, because that's something that we've chronicled on here a lot is that, you've really taken seriously like fundraising and stuff, and this just happened. It sounds like it's a big lead, if nothing else, and that's great.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about how did it come together? Is it anything to learn from that? What?
I think it comes down to, without getting like too specific, I think it comes down to forming real relationships with people.
Ooh,
Um,
that's the vagaries again. Don't like that.
well, I'm gonna get a little more specific, but like it's important to always be leading with like the pure intention of like you want to make stuff. And as you're making stuff, I know how fucking
These are really bad answers. This is awful. All right. This better have a
look,
title.
look, again, once it's finalized and the T's are
What you
crossed.
want to do is work with smart people. And when you're working with smart people, smart things will happen. It's like, are you kidding?
No, bro. This is good advice. This is good advice. Hear me
You
out.
just made me want to go to a
Hear
different
me out.
master
Hear me out.
class.
It's
Yeah.
like you start out on a smaller scale, right? And you're making projects and you're finding people to collaborate with. And then it's like that pure intention of wanting to make stuff and you start to get a little better. Then you start to get a little more viewership. And it kind of builds and builds and builds.
I'm gonna go vomit. That- the most general. I wish I didn't ask. I wish I didn't ask. Yeah. I'm just gonna say it's Ken that gave you the money and that's it. We'll leave it at that. I'm just kidding. I'm obviously kidding. Uh, okay. With that said, it's very exciting that that happened, and I'm not going to put you too much on the hot seat. Sorry about that.
No,
But
bro, I'm excited and 100%, 100 fucking percent as things are solidified and as we continue to move along week to week and I make progress in these projects, I will get way more specific and you will have a way better understanding as far as like how things are coming.
I know, I could assume that, but I was just curious if we could take anything away from it now, which more than understand that we can't. And then the second thing was that Crypt TV thing, which
Yeah.
I'm very excited for you to get on, and it sounds like you got to follow up with that, and you
Which I
might.
can get I can get more specific about because I like signed a thing with them.
Wow.
Basically they're looking for um me having a certain amount of views and them liking the content. I got two shorts licensed by them to put on their platform. They're trying to rebuild a little bit because they took there was a former team that took a little break. They then acquired Crypt and then they're slowly starting to roll stuff out. What I'm excited about is they want me to they want me to create like a creature type pilot thing for like a new series. And
I
so
love
the
it.
hope is that like me producing this short for them, they would then be able to if it gets enough views or whatever, roll it out into like a several
Who is the person that you're talking to there? Have you worked with them before?
really nice person named Noria. She's the VP of production over there. And she works for Brat TV. That's like the overhead. And then Brat TV acquired Crypt. So they're like
Is that like the girl TikTok saying like Brat Summer?
Brat Summer.
Wow, dude.
You're
I hope that
different
rocks
TikTok.
that you're
I'm
living
on,
under
bro,
is
I'm on a
like,
different side of TikTok than you.
yeah, I mean,
Weird fucking
that.
side of TikTok, bro. Creepy Martha shit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that side of TikTok. Your side's better. Yeah. But anyway, continue.
And so they roll out all these narrative like shorts and yeah, they like work with a bunch of creators. And for me, going back to last week, this has always been a dream for me. Like 2 years ago, even, I didn't think that I would ever be able to like be working with and producing for Crypt. And
Yeah.
so it just becoming the new normal. It's really exciting because then it's like, whoa, what could this next thing be? What could this next thing, you know?
For you, in addition to just like getting that validation with them and everything and working with like those talented business people, if nothing else, what really brought to the table? Like, what is so exciting about being in their kind of house?
It's like this. Um, if it works out on a smaller scale, the hope is first serializing certain content, but then eventually growing it into potentially a feature or something or like a TV series along those
Side
lines.
note, you just raised your hand, and I noticed for the first time. Is that a little flagon of wine that you have?
No, like an espresso.
Oh, that's even worse. You're a madman. You're drinking espresso at 8:30. I
Bro, I'm
forgot.
good. I can drink espresso through like 11
Oh.
o'clock.
Is that no? The term I was looking for, by the way, is carafe. That's a little carafe of espresso.
It is a carafe. I love holding this. Look at that shit, bro. It fits so nice. It's like my favorite.
Dude, well played. That's pretty sweet, actually. Okay. So at Crypt TV, because it's funny. I mean, you already had a lot of views on your videos and stuff. So, do they make money? What's their business model, as far as you can tell?
It seems, yeah,
Ad, ad, ad space, probably, right?
I think it's mostly ad space. Yeah, which the last version of Crypt TV didn't work out because they were throwing too much money at like production and all that kind of stuff, and I don't think it was sustainable. So
Right.
I am curious as to like how they're thinking about it, whether they, have products or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Dude, I'm always fascinated by how these like networks, like especially the streamers, how what their business model is.
Yeah.
But I mean, definitely something like this. But so what's next for that?
So they're gonna approve my script, which I should send to them in like a day or so. Then I'll make it. It'll come out on Crypt again. They want an 8-minute video because it helps with like ad rolls and that kind of stuff. And yeah, we'll kind of take it from there. Hopefully we can serialize it and it can become a bigger thing. Because I
Yeah.
see, I see if it has enough views and if there's enough of an audience behind it and if it's generating enough income for them, like it makes sense to spin out into something like a feature. To me, I don't know how they would, I don't know 100% like where they're looking to go, but they said they want to start small scale and then hopefully we can update from
Very
there.
cool. Very cool. It
Yeah.
was fun. So my roommate Kyle just walked in, and I don't know if you guys have
Well,
pictures of Kyle Jacob, but we were actually just talking the other day with Kyle's girlfriend.
what's up, bro? We
Hey,
haven't
hey.
had a guest in a minute.
Yeah,
We've
this is the
got
official guest.
about 100 Bumble hats to give away. Cool Down Run
Oh,
Club.
more gear. Yeah,
More,
he's a
more
big
gear.
run club guy of Santa Monica. So he gets these
Damn. I
Same.
was
hookups.
I got off the market before Bumble even came out. Can you believe that shit? It's been around for a while. Wait,
No
what's
one
the
asked,
connection with you
you
and
self-righteous, wiped up guy.
yeah, yeah. What's the Bumble connection?
So they have just been sponsoring the run club that I help run. And so they've just been picking up bar tabs to try and just get people out to do social things.
Yeah,
It's funny, they almost like have gone back to what like some of these like just social meeting groups were before dating apps,
Yeah,
where they're like sending out on their dating app, like, hey, do you like running? We're
smart.
collaborating with Cool Down Run Club. Come
Yeah,
out and meet other people that like running.
wild.
back
So
to
they got that
basics.
shared interest and then take
Yeah.
it from there.
Exactly. Take
Cool.
them off. But yeah, sorry I interrupted on that.
No, it's funny. No, it made me think about that. I mean, that's definitely something. Has nothing to do with our podcast, but it's
Well,
interesting.
I mean, we can link it back to like that could be a value mentality type angle, right?
I don't want to go in that direction with it. Where I wanted to go was
Love.
right. No, we were talking the other day. I was catching up. All Kyle's girlfriend's an actress.
Uh-huh.
And we got to talking about like, hey, what were things like for me coming up in Hollywood stuff with like my family and show business and everything. And then we got to talking to her, and she was like, yeah, I come from a background where like my family knew nothing about show business. And we, I mean, it just brought us back in full circle of I was like, I knew no one when I was starting out that was like we are right now in our early 30s, late 20s that were just like have reps, are making stuff, are meeting with big,
Yeah.
companies and getting financing, all this shit. And like, I don't know, it's just a bloodbath. But actually, what I think is an interesting takeaway from what I just brought up is that his girlfriend is doing stand-up comedy. And I
Oh,
was like, that's probably the way to get some exposure, if especially connections.
you got to get out there too, bro. You've been talking about that for a minute.
Yeah, I know.
She's doing it.
Yeah,
She's doing
she's doing it.
Wow.
it. Man,
I was just thinking, we have so many connections now. I just thought about the other day that Tanner and I should do sketch comedy. I think we could get up probably anywhere we wanted as long as we had like material. And if we just like wrote like 4 sketches a week. But then again, I could do that by myself too. And just like because I like the idea of like doing like comedic scenes more than just like
Are you saying like live sketch comedy or filming something?
filming it, but getting up like once a week and performing it too. Like, there's no reason we wouldn't be able to do like the Largo, LA, or something like the coolest like black box theater type stuff. I mean, and
Yeah.
it'd be a good place for people to just be able to come and see us, like no matter, I don't know.
I'd probably come to one.
I'd show up.
That's all we need right there.
What about a
Valley Mentality, the musical.
Mentality comedy show something?
Of course,
It's
we
a
would do
Valley
that,
Mentality event, and you guys get up and perform for
and we just
free.
let it rip. Exactly.
Or just perform at Pineapple.
That'd be sick.
Since you've had one of those.
It has been. We're doing a pop up on Saturday, another Sportsman's Lodge one.
Cool.
Nice, nice.
Yep.
I'll send you some Bumble hats too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people definitely want the
Urge.
um
But what's been going on for you, bro? Like in terms of
yeah, show business stuff.
shit or whatever. What have you been working on the last week?
I had those auditions and just like it's funny, dude. My family friend who's such an awesome person in the industry is just like told me that like to let him know if I fucking have any auditions I really care about to let him know and he'll probably like reach out and help me out. So we get a great connections. I'm just like, oh, what a nice fucking thing. But
Nice.
yeah, I mean, I got to get these big auditions though, which I haven't really been getting.
Well, is the industry drying up?
No, I have to be
Horror is,
so
horror is not.
I have to be so like cognizant when someone tries to not you, but I feel like it comes up so much where like if I have like one experience, someone the response will be like, "Well, that's just how it is." And I'm like, "No, that's not necessarily how it is." I got to be very clear. That's just like a microcosm of things. It might be how it is, but I don't want to jump to conclusions either.
Um, I spoke with I spoke with this really really great guy that I've known for now like I think 6 years or so. He works over at Mike Flanagan's company, so in the horror space. And I asked that same question. I'm like, how do you, being on the inside, um, do you see like on the horror? Do you see like things drying up? And he was like, no, absolutely not, absolutely not. At least for
For
horror,
the record, by the way, I do have to side note now. The film industry in general is like in the biggest downturn. It's been in
right? But you're trying to make a conscious thing of like not acknowledging it or like not using it as an excuse, right?
just because the industry as a whole is in a deficit doesn't necessarily mean actors for small role, like my thing is in a dry spot. I I just don't want to jump to conclusions. I don't think my experience reflects the entire industry. Let's just put it that way.
There's that like your individual thing is different, but also
Because for starters, like Tanner is like getting like sick auditions and stuff.
yeah. But also like from a producer standpoint, like an indie producer standpoint, it's everyone that I talk to says that it's moving in the direction of people needing to finance their own stuff by outside financing, forgetting about the industry and studios or whatever the fuck, get outside financing, make your movie, then it'll be acquired. That's what everyone I talk to says. It feels almost like we're back in
But
like
what happens when it gets acquired? Because like my dad's movie, for example, got acquired by Gravitas and just got lost in the oblivion.
Well, Gravitas has 200,000 titles.
It's hard to get acquired, dude. Like, it's not like these production companies are just like,
Well, it's not. Yeah, I'm not saying that it's easy, but if you make a high quality thing, um, also with the Gravitas thing too, did you guys do anything of your own as far as like this is the other piece of advice that I'm getting is like yes, it'll get acquired if it's a high quality thing and you execute it well. But you also have to drive the marketing. You can't depend on the distributor to
right,
be in the driver's seat of the marketing. Did you guys do anything for Vegas on your own as far as marketing goes?
absolutely nothing.
Okay. I mean, that might be part of it, you know? Not saying that you guys should have done like a better job or
Right.
whatever, but it's just like thinking about how creatively, like I'm already thinking about my feature that I am shooting for sure now that I'm shooting in July, the first one. I'm already thinking about marketing and how can I grow an audience for that specific title. On Burnt Mill, I'm going to start dropping daily, like these little videos that are about that movie specifically, and some will catch, and
Yeah.
then the audience will start to grow.
Yeah, the fact that you have a built-in social media formula is pretty valuable, I'd say, that you can incorporate into your movie thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you were doing some of it with Valley. Are you thinking about TikTok at all now, or no, not really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, we weren't, but we didn't have like a, built in we didn't have a proven successful video thing like you have though. But like I mean, yeah, for Valley Mentality, we started doing some TikToks, kind of experimenting with it.
Really?
Yeah.
How often you dropping? Oh yeah, you have like an intern, right?
Yeah. Once a week. Yeah.
I want an intern. How did you get an intern?
Just got to be able to drop some big coin, bro. Just pay him a ton of money. No, it's this girl,
Definitely unpaid.
family friend. Well, I pay her in pickleball lessons. I give
Oh
her a
yeah, yeah, the bartering system. I
the
getting
old
that.
bartering way.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and it's been delightful. Like she comes to our photo shoots, does behind the scenes stuff and everything. And now, by the way, I have this advisor that we're working with.
Yes.
We spoke with him on the
What are some of the key takeaways from the advisor, if you can share?
bulge. Well, you know me. I'm an open book, bro. I don't.
That's the difference.
That's the difference because most of this shit doesn't happen anyway. So I just assume it's not going to happen, and I celebrate it anyway as a compliment. So, bro, it's valuable. This type of person who's been on the board of a few different things, and he's like raised money like plenty of time. Just that knowledge is so valuable, and like that's what we're gonna get, and then that like will be really important to be able to hand down other people. But um, like he's talking about raising money, what that'll look like, and how we make an evaluation of our brand.
Sweet.
Um, and like just thinking about intention with our stuff. So it's like even what we want to do, looking kind of at a things, the bigger picture in mind. So it's like, oh yeah, we can just like kind of twiddle our thumbs and stumble into like a fun clothing line and stuff. But we're thinking about it's like he's like, okay, it's already business terms, quarter 4 of the fiscal year. We're coming into it. And what are our goals? And how are we gonna reach that? We have, the holiday season coming up. That's the biggest season for clothing stuff, allegedly. What do we want to do to tap into that? Can we surge on everything? So, and already that's getting me to think about money. And we had pretty good earnings last year. And I was like, well, why didn't we make much money in the first half of this year? Because we stopped doing even those pop-ups, which did count for, $1,000 here, $1,000 there.
Yeah.
That's something to keep in mind. Second part, a big thing. So basically, I'll just go over it because I find it exciting. And it applies to filmmaking and stuff too.
Business, yeah.
Business entrepreneurship. Um, Essentially, we're gonna raise money probably in 2025, and a big part of that money would go towards we're gonna do big collaborations, small stuff that's good for just our creative like ecosystem, which is like doing old valley haunts like Monty's Smokehouse, Casa Vega, places like that. Like if we can like convince them that hey, we want to do their clothing with them, merch, and then ideally sell it in their restaurants, that's eyes on us. That's
Bro, I love Smokehouse. You been to Smokehouse?
Dennis Smokehouse. Iconic. Yeah, it's owned by George Clooney,
I know. It was about to be run down, right? Like out of
probably.
business.
And maybe he just picked it up. Yeah.
His
Uh,
production company is also called like Smokehouse
yeah.
Pictures.
Yeah, dude. I put him a couple notches higher in my book because of that. But and yeah, I mean product development, dude, like it's just we're just chipping away, making some new stuff that's exciting and influencer outreach is fucking huge. Like, I'm just chipping away at that and
How much would a spot cost, like a post? Would that be like
brick
10K
and
or
mortar,
something?
a brick and mortar place. Some
No, no, no. Like if you're collabing with an influencer and they're posting one picture on Instagram, would that be like 10 G's?
It depends, and there's people that have a lot of experience in that space. A lot of it's not worth it at all, and the data like shows that it doesn't translate to
Right.
returns or purchases and stuff. But like honestly, with money, like I would love to be able to get to the people at Mad Happy and Cherry LA and Wish Me Luck and all these places and just see like what their formula has been and how it's been. I need to talk to these people
Right, right. You do, bro.
because like they got it built in and we're a similar aesthetic and I would argue a better story and everything. So
That's so true.
yeah.
Like the fact that and that information is not readily available, right? As far as like how they got from the starting place to
Every time I see them in a podcast or anything, it's so much fluff. It's so lame. So I would love to have my series of questions ready.
dude, that would be a gold mine. If you can it and like this guru is great, but like if you had someone like that in that space who like was like, here's the business model, like holy fuck. Then you're because you have the product. You have the product. It's just a
Uh,
matter of scaling. How do they scale a clothing company? And then if you raise the funds, which you totally could,
oh
how do
yeah.
you allocate
I
that
feel
money?
like in just talking with him as well, don't feel like raising capital would be a difficult thing once we just have our ducks in a row. Once we just have the plan like just legitimately down, it'll be pretty straightforward. But because we're not going to want to just burn through cash anyway. We're going to want to like have like a clear return path. But I mean, it's kind of obvious with Mad Happy. A, of course, they had good products. B, they got it on celebrities. Haley Bieber, I think, blew it up. C, they did collaborations, which kind of made the stuff that they did always fresh and interesting. And they just, it wasn't even unique IP really. It was just like they tapped into like, oh, doing the Apple Pan restaurant. And that's like iconic. Like, how do you get into the Apple Pan, dude? Anything, as long as you don't mess it up too bad, it's going to be pretty good clothing. Um, they had to do well. But if we have so many ideas from media stuff and clothing potentials, but we do need to get to those giant influencers. If only I had a famous cousin that could pimp us out. It's crazy the connections that we do have if we just probably had some money to push it to them and stuff. But it's good. I mean, now it's kind of making the most out of this connection that I have and with this advisor and really implementing this strong framework and kind of like we need a lot of time to really implement this stuff. Like a lot of time to think about it and
It
put it
is
in.
interesting how so much of this stuff and success and getting over that line is about the people that you know. But
Definitely.
for anyone listening who's like, I don't know fucking anyone, I don't have a famous cousin or
You gotta
whatever.
create those connections through pickleball.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or even more authentically, I mean, that is an authentic like backdoor approach, but I feel like it comes down to like you know how I'm sure throughout your life I didn't know you were such a tea guy. Throughout your life, I'm sure that you found like as you're leveling up, and you're continuing to reach your
Kind of
goals.
an isolated incident, bro. What?
As you continue to reach your goals and ascend and like maybe more you know, becoming more self-actualized or whatever, it's like sometimes certain friends that you have or people that you spend time with, they kind of, you kind of have to move on. Have you experienced that?
I love always getting to the bigger message here.
I'm trying to. Bro, I'm trying to find some fucking worthwhile like piece
Right.
gem for our audience to actually listen to instead of just rambling on.
Uh,
But you ever experienced that? I'm sure, bro. I'm sure.
probably gotten closer to my old friends than
Oh,
ever.
for real?
Yeah. Dude,
Okay, typically,
you gotta keep the balance, dude. In fact,
look, I agree,
I'm
and
lucky.
I'm still good friends with a couple girls from my high school. Yeah, I get it, right? It's good to have those anchors, but for the most part, as you continue
I'm
to
not saying from high school. I don't know about that far back for me, unfortunately.
oh,
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Not much has changed in that realm.
interesting.
I mean, dude, who the fuck do I really hang out with? I just play pickleball.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Even as you're playing pickleball, there are certain people that you've met that maybe like a wealth manager or whatever the fuck that like maybe you can relate to more now because you're at a certain place in your life as opposed to like when you were in high school. That's mostly my point.
No,
Like,
I of course recognize your point.
I know.
Uh,
But bro,
what
it's
about
I think both those things like are come hand in hand where it's like you continue to get better and clearer like as a person and then you end up attracting the people in and syncing up with certain people that'll then help you get to that next level.
yeah, ideally you always want to, hang out with cool people that like you're the summation of the people that you hang around type thing. But I've never really had that. Whenever, in fact, when I was really young, like in high school, I would get so frustrated, like, oh, I knew these people, or I wish I knew these people, or I wish I knew these girls or whatever and everything. And then it never worked out. I was always comparing myself and stuff, which I think is fine to compare yourself, but it's underrated, in fact. But since I've gotten older, I think I learned the mature lesson, which is that you got to get the result you want anyway, despite your circumstances.
That's true.
Can't use it as an excuse of like, oh, I'm in this environment, so like, it sucks. And it's like, no, dude, figure it out.
Do your
Don't
thing.
like you can have anything in this life, but you gotta make it happen.
You can, bro. You're but then, naturally you might not hang out with certain people. It's like everyone has like what, 16 hours in a day. And it's like the way that the most successful people allocate their time looks vastly different from other people, you know? It's interesting. Like the things you're doing and the daily habits you're doing and everything, or like knocking out an audition or like meeting up with someone or whatever, probably looks really different from when you were in high school.
Thanks. I mean, but I also think, yeah, to the point of that, uh, if you're in the wrong circumstances, then I think you also have to be at peace sometimes with not getting what you want too. You have to be happy no matter what. You have to have a good attitude no matter what, ideally.
Yeah. And things
Balance.
shift so quick
Exactly. Exactly. It's like,
in
you
this.
have to live, laugh, love. You gotta laugh. Laugh at yourself.
What movie have you seen that you like
I
lately?
want to see that Saturday Night Live movie, but I hear it's not that good.
There's an SNL movie
Yeah,
about.
but the opening, like the first week of Saturday Night Live ever.
Oh shit. I mean, I'll watch it. It's a shame to hear it's not great, but I'll watch it.
Dude, I've also been watching the Lord of the Rings series, which like a lot of people hate, but I kind of like it. And
Yeah,
like that last episode, I think was badass. You never got into any of the Lord of the Rings stuff?
that was never my thing.
You're insane, dude. We have not agreed on
Oh, we
one.
don't like the same shit. Remember
No,
watching?
no.
There's
We're vehemently against each other.
bro. I'm loving this Japanese horror series about them turning into spirals and shit that I'm sure you'd hate, but it's amazing. It's on
I
Max.
like spirals.
You like spirals?
So what's that called? Let's get a name.
Uzumaki.
You lost me already.
It's
All
on,
right,
bro. Go on Max. It's like homepage of Max. Highly
bro.
recommend.
We're probably about to sign off, right?
Yeah, we are, bro. Good
All
seeing
right, boy.
you.
Always
I'll
a
see you next
blast. Talk to you soon.
Bye.